Gate 5. Creative Power. Taming the Forces. You pause to integrate the vast esoteric personalities you have just encountered. Suddenly the light on the path extinguishes and you are in the dark. A strange fear wells up inside of you. You sit and contemplate the darkness for what seems like eternity. Suddenly you notice a sliver of light beaming from above. In a flash, you realize that everything that has come to light was born out of darkness. As you make your way toward the light, you spot an ancient bookcase. You notice two titles, Literature of the Future and Songs from the Golden Age. Suddenly you hear the echo of a voice. Is that Sri Aurobindo? You wonder. The voice repeats the following sentence 3 times. Behind the visible events in the world, there is always a mass of visible forces at work, unknown to the outward minds of men. As we make our way through the labyrinth, we encounter many unsuspected energies and spirits that must be tamed and overcome. To greater or lesser degrees, we are involved in an alchemical process of transmutation, transforming the lower, negative forces back into spiritual light. It is only when the light appears that we realize that we have been living in a world of shadows. Once we have glimpsed the light, we wish to follow it to its source. But this is not always easy. The shadows have strange powers to which we humans often succumb without perceiving. These shadows are the veiled corridors of our own mind that we have grown so accustomed to that we mistake them for reality. But they are not, and so we enter the sacred struggle. On the journey, often treacherous, old forms must be constantly broken up to clear the way for the new. The greatest ally on this path is the power of imagination. This is the creative force that fuels our journey. Imagination incorporates and provides another form of reality than reported by our senses. By directed focus of the imaginal will, we can displace lower forces and project the higher vision. In fact, disciplined exertion of creative imaginative force is the very means for overcoming the lower forces and obstacles. We are now being called upon to summon our untapped creative powers, overcome all obstacles and remain on the path of light. We must master our inner demons and redirect their chaotic energy in order to build the inner temple of our evolving soul. The true initiate knows the aversions only lead to enslavement. By liberating ourselves from all forms of hatred or delusion, we thereby transcend historical dualism and attain freedom. In the development of hermetic tradition, from the Middle Ages to modern times, the initiate always seeks to understand the nature of the spirits, both dark and light orders, and how to tame and control these forces. Sri Aurobindo says, as there are powers of knowledge and forces of light, so there are powers of ignorance and tenebrous forces of darkness, whose work is to prolong the reign of ignorance and unconscious. He points out that the hostile forces have existed in yogi experience since the days of the Vedas and Zoroaster in Asia, and in Europe also from ancient times. Hermes explains in Book 9 of the Corpus Hermeticum that Nous brings forth both good and evil, depending on if he receives input from God or from demons. Aleister Crowley says, the pious pretense that evil does not exist only makes it vague, enormous, and menacing. Madame Blavatsky made a similar statement when she said, resist not evil, that is, do not complain or feel anger against the inevitable disagreeables of life. Forget yourself in working for others. If men revile, persecute, or wrong one, why resist? In the resistance we create greater evils. According to Rosicrucian tenets, light and darkness are identical in themselves, being only divisible in the human mind. Robert Flood said, darkness adopted illumination in order to make itself visible. In the Gospel of John it says, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Why do negative forces exist? Buddhist teachings describe devas and dakinis that are either benevolent or mischievous and need to be tamed. The Chod practices of the higher Vajrayana teachings of Tibet are directed at casting out, destroying or pacifying negative spiritual forces. These forms are ultimately understood as projections of the play of the mind. In Muslim tradition, we find a description of the jinn, an astral force counterpart to the human realm. The jinn energies seek to dissuade or delude us on our quest for higher harmony. The jinn can also be tamed by enlightened masters, such as Solomon. The Quran says that Solomon enlisted the jinn, by God's leave, to make for him anything he wanted, such as niches, statues, deep pools, and heavy cooking pots. If the negative energies or jinn are not tamed, they can manifest as addictions of all types, drugs, food, alcohol, sex, etc., as well as all forms of mental addictions. When morphine, hashish, and opium use became prevalent in the 19th century, they seemed to unleash demonic forces from which many suffered. Aleister Crowley, a well-known drug addict, suffered in this way, along with countless musicians, artists, and other creative types who have died battling these forces. Lower forces are often drawn to the open channel of the artist and sensitive types in the process of the quest. See Cosmic History Chronicles, Volume 3. Because of this, the Masonic Order gives names to many of these forces and create various spells to cast them away. We must always remember that even these seemingly adverse forces are part of the total play of the divine. Part of the plan then was to create the human civilization as an aversion layer where harmony becomes less and less apparent. As harmony becomes less apparent, so does the need increase to seek the truth. For this reason, the seeker is always in search of harmony. Meditation for banishing negative energy. The following is an inner teaching given to Yeshe Tsogyal by Padmasambhava for the purpose for banishing evil spirits. Padmasambhava told Yeshe Tsogyal, "It is of utmost importance to train diligently in this way. Through exerting yourself in this way, you will annihilate the evil spirit and turn away from samsara." Dakini Teachings, page 53. 1. Do not apprehend names as being things, since all labels and names of outer things have no existence in your mind. 2. To acknowledge that everything which comprises the world and the beings within it has no self-nature, although it appears just like dreams and magic. 3. To seek out 3 times a day and 3 times a night this mind that fixates on various objects, although nothing whatever exists. 4. Do not stray from the meaning, that is nameless and devoid of extremes. Even though you search your mind, it is not found to be anything whatsoever. In our pursuit of higher harmony, we must at some time or another reconcile the meaning and myth of Satan or the devil. Crowley is often identified as the beast. Gurdjieff wrote all and everything Beelzebub tales of his son, and Blavatsky named her theosophical journal Lucifer. In the Bible, Lucifer is described as the bringer of light and one of the highest archangels, but then disobeyed God and became the tester of humankind. In The Secret Doctrine, Blavatsky says that the real ruler of this world is Satan, meaning that the people prefer to be misled than choose the straight path.